Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Top NSA experts just discovered who was really behind DNC email hack. Well shoot, y'all. It looks like we were being led around by Obama and his cronies on the whole election email hack thing. Turns out they may not have been telling us the whole truth. The group The Nation brought together several forensic experts and 4 former NSA experts to analyze the DNC emails leaked during the election. Their findings, a big, fat red flag. They concluded that the email hack had to have been an inside job the whole time. The experts found that the email attack would have been impossible to do for an outsider. The attack took under 2 minutes and the data was too big. According to their findings, the volume of the supposedly hacked material and what is called the transfer rate is the time a remote hack would require. The metadata established several facts in this regard with granular precision. On the evening of July 5, 2016, 1,976 megabytes of data were downloaded from the DNC's server. The operation took 87 seconds. This yields a transfer rate of 22.7 megabytes per second. If the attack were really a remote attack like we were told, they would have needed lightning-fast internet to pull it off. The problem is, according to The Nation, those speeds didn't exist on ISPs at the time. So what does that leave? An inside job. Now, I don't want to point fingers, but considering the FBI case and the cover-up job done by Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I'd say Imran Aman is a good candidate for your leaker. Only time will tell, though. Why did Obama claim it was a phishing attack? Was he trying to cover up for something far bigger? We got to share these new findings out so the American people can decide for themselves. SmackDown. Jeff Sessions just brought the hammer down on Charlottesville this morning. The Department of Justice and the FBI Richmond Division opened an investigation circumstances of the deadly attack in Charlottesville. This is huge. Jeff Sessions is cracking down like he is supposed to. The Richmond FBI Field Office, the Civil Rights Division, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Virginia have opened a civil rights investigation into the circumstances of the deadly vehicular incident that occurred earlier Saturday morning. The FBI will collect all available facts and evidence, and as this is an ongoing investigation, we are not able to comment further at this time, according to Facebook. Senator Ted Cruz, R. Texas, called for the Department of Justice to investigate the attacks. He did so in a Facebook post. Here is that Facebook post. It's tragic and heartbreaking to see hatred and racism once again mar our great nation with bloodshed. Heidi's and my prayers are with the loved ones of those killed and injured in the ongoing violence in Charlottesville. The First Amendment protects the rights of all Americans to speak their minds peaceably, but violence, brutality, and murder have no place in a civilized society. The Nazis, the KKK, and white supremacists are repulsive and evil, and all of us have a moral obligation to speak out against the lies, bigotry, anti-Semitism, and hatred that they propagate. Having watched the horrifying video of the car deliberately crashing into a crowd of protesters, I urge the Department of Justice to immediately investigate and prosecute this grotesque act of domestic terrorism. These bigots want to tear our country apart, but they will fail. America is far better than this. Our nation was built on fundamental truths, none more central than the proposition that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. One person was killed and there were 26 injured after 20-year-old terrorists, James Alex Fields of Ohio, ran a car into Charlottesville protesters. Share this if you are praying for the victims of this tragedy. This is America. A place where people of all political persuasions can meet and discuss them peacefully. What we saw was terrorism. The guy that ran over those people, part of a white supremacist group. He is no better than ISIS. Right after Trump spoke about Charlottesville violence, Gingrich showed up and did the unimaginable. Newt Gingrich has been one of President Trump's biggest supporters since day one. Now, whether it's an attempt to be genuinely helpful or just to plug his new book, it looks like Gingrich may have turned his back on the president. Almost immediately following the deadly violence in Virginia yesterday, Trump made an impassioned speech where he pleaded to all Americans to end the bigotry and violence. Simple enough, right? Wrong. Gingrich went on Fox Sunday Today to declare that Trump's statement was not enough. Gingrich told the show panel, "I do think if you're fair to him, the statement itself was pretty strong and pretty direct about condemning the violence, condemning bigotry. I mean, he talks very specifically about condemning racism. But I agree, I think that clearly, he should talk out much more aggressively about it." Gingrich went on to say that, knowing Trump, he will probably condemn the white supremacy movement directly in the next day or so. Still, despite their philosophies being terrible, the violence is not all on their side. Newt brought up reports that the Chancellor of Berkeley had a secret escape door installed recently to protect himself from his own leftist students. Every person engaged in violence in Charlottesville should be, frankly, locked up. But the truth is the same on college campuses. It's true across the country. We have to decide violence is unacceptable, even in free speech, but you can't have violence. Amen to that, Newt. I'm sure that President Trump will agree with you there. Just like the horrible violence, the black supremacy caused in Dallas by Micah Xavier Johnson or the terrible church shooting by white supremacist Dylan Roof, we in the United States demand a more civilized society. You have every right to free speech. However, if you hurt people on your pursuit, go straight to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Share if you stand against bigotry and hatred. Holy hell, Elizabeth Warren just stripped of her mask and showed the world who she really is. Allegedly fake Native American Elizabeth Warren is on a warpath again. She was at the annual Netroots convention and then started screeching at the crowd in the most horrible way. She yelled, "Liz Warren, Mr. President, we are never, ever going to build your stupid wall." Elizabeth Warren exposed that she is obsessed with Trump. The far-left crowd frickin' loves her. They want totally open borders so that they can bring in more Democratic voters to work on the Democratic plantations. Elizabeth Warren listed herself as Native American at Harvard University and the University of Pennsylvania. "At some point after I was hired by them, I provided that information to the University of Pennsylvania and Harvard," she said. "My Native American heritage is part of who I am proud of it, and I have been open about it." The funny thing is that Elizabeth Warren said that she learned about her heritage from family lore, according to the Huffington Post. By family lore, we are all Native American. Share this if you are tired of these race-baiting fake politicians. They make everything about race and then turn around and stab working Americans in the back. Hes Back scare Masai just went on TV to reveal huge secret about Bannon and Trump. The mooch is back and firing off his mouth at 100 miles a minute once again. Today he went on ABC and went on one of his legendary rants. You know, the same kind that got Reince Priebus fired. Anyways, so there was Scare Masai, talking to George Stephanopoulos, when they started talking about Trump's response to Charlottesville and, of course, Steve Bannon. That's when the mooch dropped this bombshell he may have gotten from Trump himself. Scare Masai said President Trump is gonna fire Steve Bannon because he is a leaker. After blaming Bannon several times for White House discord, the mooch said, "I think the president knows what he's going to do with Steve Bannon. Let's leave it up to the president. It's his decision, but at the end of the day, The president has a very good idea of who the leakers are inside the White House. Now, before you jump to Bannon's defense, think back. When the mooch was still at the White House, he went on a rant about the self-serving Reince Priebus and Steve Bannon being possible leakers. A week later, Reince was gone. What happened next? McMaster kicked all of Bannon's people out of the National Security Council. After that, Trump publicly declared his faith in McMaster. Since then, no major intel leaks. Look, there is no proof that Bannon is a leaker. His service is at the pleasure of the president. However, all the pieces are moving into their places and it does not look good for the former Breitbart editor. Finally, what Trump just said about white supremacists will shut media up for good. President Trump has been attacked from all sides ever since he made his speech yesterday condemning the horrible, violent clashes in Virginia yesterday. Both the left and the right have attempted to brutalize the president because he demanded an end to hate, bigotry, and violence on many sides. The MSM tried to claim this was him protecting white supremacists. So wrong. The MSM tried to claim this was him protecting white supremacists. So wrong. To settle this once and for all, Trump's White House just released an official statement that will settle everything. Of course, he condemns violence by white supremacists, KKK neo-Nazi, and all extremist groups. Duh. The official statement continues. The president said very strongly in his statement yesterday that he condemns all forms of violence, bigotry, and hatred. He called for national unity and bringing all Americans together. Look, white supremacy is stupid. So is black supremacy, neo-Nazism, radical Islam, and many other potentially murderous ideologies. Still, as long as free speech exists, so will they. That does not mean violence is okay. Also, I seem to recall a much more forgiving media the night Obama forgot to blame BLM or the black supremacy movement for the horrible sniping murders of the Dallas police force by Xavier Johnson. Do you agree with Trump that combating bigotry and hatred cannot be accomplished one piece at a time and all murders are anti-American? Good. Well, in that case, share this out and let the world see what really happened. Trump just did the incredible for veterans with 6 epic words. And no one was looking. President Trump signed the VA Choice and Quality Employment Act in Bedminster, New Jersey on Saturday, according to The Hill. The new act will add $2.1 billion to help veterans pay for private medical care. President Trump said of the bill, "Today is another milestone in our work to transform the VA. This bill will ensure the veterans continue to have the ability to see a doctor of their choice, so important, and don't have to wait or travel long distances for care. The Veterans Choice Program will let veterans get health care from doctors outside the VA if they live more than 40 miles away from a VA facility, or if they have to wait for a VA appointment for more than 30 days. Right before President Trump signed the bill and said something that put it all in perspective. These great incredible veterans our finest. Are waiting in line for ailments that could be fixed quickly, and they're dying. He then added 6 great words. That's not going to happen now. The extra funding will buy time for Congress to debate further VA reforms. President Trump yet again did something awesome for our vets. Share it out there. The Hill.